If you're new here, my name's Cody Anderson, and I am joined by Jordan Vogel over here, and we are both part of Good Rep Media. If you're watching this, you're probably a small business owner. You might be a side hustler, but you work online. You spend a lot of time on your computer or on your phone doing hustles. Um, and if that's something that you're doing, you probably want to watch us so you can get a little bit of a better idea how to hustle better. With that said, Good Rep Media is a small business marketing agency. We help small businesses rank better on Google, all of that good jazz. Yeah, it's pretty nice out here, man. How are you feeling today, Jordan?
I'm feeling pretty good. Sun's starting to shine a little bit. We got a little bit warmer day than we've had. Snow's melting outside. I might ride my scooter. I don't know. It's a good little day. Made $380 on the Super Bowl.
Ooh,
Large, baby.
were you betting on the actual game itself?
Yeah, I bet. So we all know my strategy where like I refer people, I get like free cash to kind of bet on the game that like I specifically have to bet on like sports. I bet 20 to 25 different bets across the entire thing. Um and
Wait. You placed 20 to 25 different bets across.
yes.
How
Yep.
many of those hit?
Upwards of like 9 to 10 of them. I think I like of the cash that I like. Well, again, I didn't spend any real money, but of like the amount, like the dollar figure of like of fan cash is what they call it. I spent I think 250, and then walked away
Dang.
with 380 all up. So like, even if it was real cash, I still would have profited. Um, but yeah, I bet about 25 bets, ranging from like the normal bets that I do where I'll bet on like players yardage and stuff, all the way down to I put bets on like the first player that would score a touchdown. I bet on which hit and got me $120. I bet on like, would there be a doink off the field goal post? Like when someone kicks a field goal, will there be one time where it hits the field goal post and bounces off? I put 10 on that. If that would have happened, I would have got 30. I didn't get anything from that. Like I was just having fun with it. I was like, this is the last game of the year. Let's plug it around on things that I normally wouldn't. And some of them paid out. So that's cool.
Hell yeah. Which I mean, hey, that's what you're looking for. I make like jokes and I make my comments because I do dislike gambling in general. But the way you describe these things, I'm like, oh, did you hit? And it's like I'm imagining opening my magic packs or like packs of trading cards, and I'm like, I'm looking for the hit. Am I
So
gonna hit?
So the past 4 weeks we've had improv classes in the middle of football games,
Yeah.
and so like it has been fun for me almost because like now I'm not watching the games, but I still put those bets down. And every week so far I have made money. Like when we were sitting in the bar, I've gone, look at how much money I have made, and like it's fun because I leave like we go into improv and leave at 8, and like it's around halftime of the primetime games, and it's like, oh, look it, I made money while we were playing improv. Like I didn't know that this bet hit, but as soon as I step out and look at my phone, I'm like, I made money.
Which I mean, hey,
Yeah,
sometimes it's a nice feeling, sometimes it's a nice feeling. But
yeah,
I,
fun,
I
fun.
draw I draw the parallel because it makes me laugh. I think people get their enjoyments out of different things. And I can appreciate the idea of, oh, it makes me enjoy the game a little bit more.
Yeah,
I think it helps because I can look at you and recognize that you're not like gambling away your rent money.
right, exactly.
And have you watched White Lotus?
I've not.
Quick shout out to White Lotus fans out there. If you're watching this and enjoy White Lotus, drop your favorite season. If it's not number 1 or number 3, if you like season 2 the most, get out of here. You're not allowed to be our fan. Season 2 is awful, but
Wait, so one
um,
and three are the best? That's what you're
1 and
saying?
3 are the best in my opinion. 3 was
Man,
really good, but
White
1 is
Lotus
like the OG.
on that True Detective grind. One
Yeah,
and three were the best seasons of True Detective, in my opinion, too.
it's kind of phenomenal, and I'll be real. I love shows that do that. You can't If you have a good show, normally season 1 is phenomenal. It
Yeah,
is almost always the best season because it's that nostalgia factor. It's what got you into it. You can't look at it and be like, oh, something else is better. Season 3 of White Lotus is like phenomenal. It takes the premise to like level 10 but it's just a little bit more. I mean, it's just not as good, not
Do
as
you have
original.
do you have to like, I know that there is like a through line. I get that it's also kind of anthological, like each season
Yeah,
is kind of its own thing, but then there is a through line through it. Can you watch White Lotus out of order, or like should you watch one, two, three?
I would recommend that you watch 1, 2, 3, mainly because that the order is like worthwhile. It is, they say anthology. When you think of anthology series, I always think of Black Mirror
Yeah.
personally, which Black Mirror is a phenomenal anthology series, but it's every episode is very different and you can see some callbacks, but you don't need the other stories to understand.
Yeah.
The callbacks are cool. They add a little bit of like Easter egg. The callbacks in White Lotus are a lot more intensive. So,
Yeah.
for example, in season 2 of White Lotus, one of the quintessential characters is from season 1. They're not the main character by any means, but they're a quintessential. They're one of the cast. And similarly, in season 3, there is one character who has been in season 1 and or is introduced in I think season 2, and they go into season 3 along with another character that was in season 1. But
Yeah. Well, yes, James in the comment right now talking about his opinion on True Detective. I've talked to him personally about this,
yeah.
and yeah, season 2 of it almost feels like a comedy because of the actors that are involved in it. Just it's so hard to take them seriously.
Oh,
But
that's actually hilarious.
like I do get what you're saying. Like you picture like when you hear anthology, you think more like episodic anthology versus seasonal anthology.
Yeah, and so when you're getting down to watch, I think you should watch episode 1 or season 1 first because it will get you into it. Season 2 can be difficult to watch, and I want to call it out because season 2 is difficult to watch because I think it touches on like a very difficult topic for a lot of people, which
Mhm.
is go watch it. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, like
It's
don't
a little
spoil
bit deep,
nothing.
but go get into it.
And Mel's over here pulling her hair out already. We're 7 minutes
Oh,
in.
you know you got to stress it out. But mainly, okay, we're gonna highlight this comment because we're a little off topic, 100%. But we're gonna be
Yeah.
back on topic because Joey
We haven't
Matterhorn
been
himself
on
is joining
topic
us
yet.
today.
We haven't even said what the episode's about. How's their topic? We haven't said what it's about yet.
Oh, I thought I opened with it.
Did
Forgive
you?
me if I did not. Forgive
Maybe you
me.
did. Maybe you did.
Getting into our topic today, I feel like we often hear about helps, but do you think there are productivity habits that are overrated or necessary for marketers? So, Mel, I appreciate you getting us back on topic here. I want to touch on two things. One, our topic today, we want to talk about good habits, daily routines. If you're a marketer, if you're a side hustler, what can you do to actually get out there and succeed at these things? And then number two, Joey Matterhorn himself is going to be joining us for a hot second. He's going to be here in a couple of minutes, honestly. But he's going to be here to talk about the Joey Matterhorn membership, a little bit about what we're going to be doing this week. And he's going to be going live with us. Probably not tomorrow, but he's going to be live this afternoon talking about credit. And then we've got a nice little course that's going to be coming out here soon about flipping. So if you are one of those money hustlers, if you're looking to make money online, you're looking to figure out how to make that extra dollar. Do you ever flip on Facebook, Jordan?
No, I have flipped on eBay. I've never really flipped on Facebook though.
Mm,
Um,
when you flipped on eBay, was it sports memorabilia?
it was sports cards.
Oh hell yeah! When did you do that?
When I saw an opportunity to buy some for cheap and then sell them for more because I knew they were going for more than the price tag showed on that shelf. So I guess no, when we say flipping, I'm assuming you're talking about buying from someone else and then selling versus buying from a store and then reselling.
Yes.
I was that evil person working at Meyer, saw them stock a shelf with cards, knew that those Prism cards were going for like $40 a pack, bought them, sold them on eBay.
Hell yeah! Well, I'm glad,
Hey,
man.
I
And
made like 80
honestly,
bucks. I made like 80 bucks on top of my shift, so I can't be.
honestly, that's the type of thing that people need to do. And if you're going to be a side hustler, if you're going to be a flipper, if that's something that you're interested in figuring out, I would definitely check out Joey Matterhorn when he joins us in a couple minutes.
And
But with
also,
that
I
said,
want you to say you did talk on hustles in your intro. As soon as you said hustle again right there, I was like, okay, you did talk on that. That's right.
I was going to say I
Um,
touched on it, but I definitely didn't. I
we didn't
definitely
say
didn't
like this
delve into it.
episode is about, but we were like, we're here for hustlers. Stick around to learn about hustle.
Yeah. Well, and it's so I feel like we hammer this home every single pod. And honestly, I love hammering it home because it makes me like it makes me hold myself accountable more.
Mhm.
Build good habits, build up good morning habits. I think you mentioned almost every week that you should be making your bed in the morning. I
Mhm.
saw another one recently where it was like, hey, if you're going to like get out of bed and you need to be active, put on your socks. Have you
I don't
ever
like
heard
wearing
that?
socks in the house. I don't like wearing socks in the house.
See, and I Cassidy's the same way. My partner, she doesn't like wearing socks, and I know a lot of people don't like wearing socks. But if you're gonna need to go somewhere, if you know that you're waking up and like you need to go to work, you're not work from home. If you know that you're gonna go DoorDash, if you know that you're gonna go meet up for a Facebook Marketplace meet and greet, if you're gonna go do something in your day, waking up and putting socks on first thing is usually like also a really good way to get you out. Because a lot of people apparently don't like sitting under covers with socks or sitting on
Yeah.
being at
Yeah,
home in
like
socks.
yeah, you won't catch me sleeping with my socks on.
Is it really that crazy? This is a weird one for me because personally, I wear my socks all the time. Like I wake up and
Oh,
I
you like
shower
having
and
a
I
little
put my
blanket
socks
on
on.
your feet?
No, like I'll sleep in my socks too, but I'll also sleep in jeans, which I know some
Wait,
people think that's
wait,
crazy.
wait. Regularly, or like you're saying you can sleep in jeans?
Well, okay, everyone can. That's a dumb thing to say. I
Right.
would regularly. I have not in a while, purely because I share a bed with someone else, and wearing jeans in a bed with someone else is crazy, apparently.
It's
But I
crazy
will.
no matter what, Cody.
I will nap with jeans on. That's not
Okay,
that
like
crazy.
okay, it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm just gonna go take a nap. I'm not getting undressed to take a nap, whatever. I've fallen asleep on my bed with jeans on. But like if it's like I got the bed to myself, my partner's not here, I'm going to bed for the night. Are you telling me you will put jeans on and crawl into bed?
No,
Chat,
you
get
don't.
in the comments. Tell him he's fucking crazy.
Get down there in the comments. Are you sleeping in jeans? No, I won't put jeans on. But if I'm wearing jeans, I
You
will
won't take them
100%.
off if you're going to bed by yourself, like your partner's somewhere else or something like that, and you have the bed to yourself, and you have jeans on, and it is your bedtime, which is like 6 p.m. or whatever, and like you know,
6:30.
that's a shot at you. This is all one big shot at you with a bunch of mini ones peppered in there.
I was gonna say this isn't a shot. You're throwing darts at a dartboard and you just ain't missing.
It's just Cody's face on that dartboard. But like, so your partner's not here.
Yeah,
Hypothetically, painting one. It's 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever time you're going to go to bed that day, and
I I,
you're
I will
wearing jeans
usually
already.
take off
You're
my
already
jeans.
wearing jeans. You got a shirt on. You're just going to crawl into bed in those jeans and go to sleep.
I have, and I did for years. I don't anymore. I'll be real. I've been, you know what they say when you meet a good person and they make your life better? 100% met a good person and she told me to stop wearing jeans in bed. And I was like, you know what? It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, like that's why. Like I don't like that. Doesn't seem comfortable. That doesn't seem like yeah. Like Mel says, as long as you're comfortable, but I don't
Boom,
believe
as
you
long as you're
are.
comfortable.
But I
I
don't believe you are. Not as comfortable as you can be if you just take them off. You know,
if you just
I'm
didn't.
not sitting here telling you I care if you sleep naked or anything like that. Jeans, jeans, Cody. Put on some
Jeans.
shorts.
Well,
Put on
no, question for you.
get some pajama pants.
I've heard some things negative about sleeping naked. I don't I have not a big
This
fan.
ain't the topic, Cody.
I am only making the joke because we do have Joey Matterhorn himself coming in. I'm gonna drop him a link right now. Let's get him in here.
Joe's gonna be really confused when the first question I ask him is if he sleeps in jeans or or what his sleeping apparel looks
I
like.
don't think I've seen Joe wear jeans.
I don't think I have either. Eh, maybe.
I've seen
Normally
him wear
sweatpants.
like
There's a lot of
nicer
sweatpants.
pants.
But like, what was he like wearing? I remember he said he was gonna wear jeans to
No,
Fogo.
he said he was gonna wear sweats to Texas de Brazil, and he did.
Yeah. Hmm.
And look at him here himself. Hey Joe,
Am
how
I
are you
here?
doing?
Yeah, you're here, Joe. We hear you. You're there.
All right. Let me
Hey,
turn my
quick
volume up. I
question
can
for
barely
you.
hear you guys.
Oh, he's gonna fix his volume.
You gotta fix the volume.
I'm here.
hear
Can
us?
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
Awesome.
Let's see the-
Random question, Joe. Would you ever wear jeans to sleep?
Accidentally, sure.
Accidentally, yeah. Like I said, I've crawled in the bed before, fallen asleep while laying there in my jeans. Cody is actively saying that he used to wear jeans to bed.
I'm sure he did all kinds of things when he was a young, immature dude.
Exactly.
Like
I was trying to explain
4 years ago.
Well, I was explaining when you meet a fine partner, when you meet a fine woman, she makes you a better person. And part of that is she doesn't let me wear jeans in bed anymore. And that's probably a good habit to build up.
Well, there probably are other reasons for that too, I would assume, but we'll talk about that later.
But Joey, you are in here. You wanted to talk about your membership and you wanted to talk about going live later today. We were introing and talking about how the credit influencer is going live at 2 p.m. and we are talking about flipping at 3. But you want to give a little bit more rundown on that?
Sure. And just so you know, as I see myself right now, it says my name, you're Cody, you're Jordan, I'm the credit influencer versus Joey Matterhorn.
Yeah, I can change that.
I am obviously both, and it's not a big deal.
It does say right underneath it says Joey Matterhorn.
Totally get it. And but I don't know if they're even going to see that. Couldn't see it until you said that.
We're swapping it right now.
And that's okay. There we go. All right. So, repeat your question because I'm old and I forgot what you said.
I was asking you, so you're going live at 2 p.m. on the Credit Influencer, and you're talking about going live for courses and stuff this week. We've been wanting to talk about the Joey Matterhorn membership for a while. You want to dive into that and give us an idea of what that membership looks like and how the rest of this week's going to be shaping up?
Sure. So what we're going to be doing this week, of course, is February 9th is our launch date for a lot of projects that have been built up for a long period of time. At noon on Monday, it's just Joey Matterhorn. Is this the Good Rep chat, by the way, or Joey Matterhorn?
Yeah, we're on Joey Matterhorn. So lunch with the boys is noon on Mondays and Tuesdays. We've got that down pat.
Okay. Is that Joey Matterhorn and Good Rep, or is
Joey Matterhorn and Good Rep?
So Mondays today, we are on the Joey Matterhorn channel. Tomorrow on Tuesday, we will be on the Good Rep channel.
Okay. Then on Wednesday, I'm not sure if it's going to be a Joey Matterhorn channel or a Pink Slushy channel, but we're going to talk about traffic sources at noon. We're going to talk about how to get traffic to your website, whether it's search, social, this, that, and the other. That's going to be noon on Wednesdays. Noon on Thursdays is going to be TAM Talks. TAM is Tangible Accessible Markets. It was a term created by Neil Patel. And it's going to talk about how you can reverse engineer campaigns. If you're looking to start a business, some people start with a product, try to find an audience. I'm going to teach people how much more important online it is to find an audience and then create the product behind it. So you're reverse engineering the thought process. Some people say, hey, I have this wonderful widget like the Ring doorbell. The Ring doorbell is fantastic because it didn't exist. They needed a high marketing budget. They went out and they secured some VC capital. And they came with a great plan. They went on Shark Tank with the idea. They thought Shark Tank would hate it, which they did. They didn't accept it, but they were on Shark Tank, and everyone was like, holy crap, I want that. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Shark Tank, I don't know if anyone knows this, but Shark Tank is kind of known that if you go on there and your product isn't purchased by Shark Tank, just the visibility, Shark Tank gets a piece of that. They actually they should. You're seeing that with millions of people. They are responsible. So they got a percentage, a small percentage of the Ring doorbell, but not, if someone would have invested, it would have been more. But anyways, we're going to talk about those ideas on Thursdays at 2:00 Eastern time. On Monday is the Credit Influencer. Tuesday is the Diabetic Influencer. Wednesday's Personal Development, which I don't know if we actually have a name for that besides Always Grow Personally. Maybe we call it the Personal Development Influencer.
I feel like most of this is personal development anyway. But you mentioned Credit Influencer and Diabetic Influencer. I want to touch on those because I think the topics themselves are really interesting. We've talked about credit a number of times on the pod. What are you covering in the Credit Influencer?
So basically all the different reasons and ways to raise your credit score. A lot of people think, when you're thinking in your current situation, you think, man, I wish I had good credit so I can get a credit card and save my financial position. But if I did, I wouldn't have any money. I mean, I'd accrue this debt. It teaches the rules and regulations of credit. If you have bad credit, I show you how to get rid of the bad credit and get good credit. If you have good credit, I show you how to enhance the good credit. And more importantly, I show you how to use it. For example, in my businesses, I have $270,000 of credit cards available to me. And I can't tell you how many times someone said, hey, I've got I don't want to give my debit card out to a bank account. Who knows what they would do with it? And then trying to get your money back into a bank account is way harder than trying to get the credit card fraud department to actually check for fraud. There's different departments, different reasons. There's real cash in a bank account versus a credit card that has protections in place and insurance and all these different departments. And there's just so many great reasons to use credit. I get 2% cash back everything I purchase. Last month I got $8,000. Or 1 month I got $11,000, $12,000. This is just money back from using the credit card. Now we use it for a lot of things. We pay all of our server bills. Our server bills are $12,000 a month. We pay all kinds of things with our credit cards, but it's a wonderful benefit. It helps give your business a good Dun & Bradstreet ranking, which is the, you have TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, which are your personal credit repositories. And Dun & Bradstreet is the business repository. So if you have a good Dun & Bradstreet ranking, you can get a lot of credit for a lot of things.
I was going to say, and go ahead, Jordan.
I was going to say, do you feel like, who all do you think is going to be the target audience for credit influencer lives? Do you feel like there will be valuable information for, personal credit users as well as business, or do you think it'll be more tailored towards businesses?
I'm pretty sure the credit influencer is going to be 99% personal, just because of how the algorithm is going to show people, and people who have been interested in credit repair, TikToks and YouTubes before. I think it's going to lend it to them. I don't really know. I don't think that there's how to say this the best way. I think there's a market for the business credit, but I think a lot of those business people already know the value of it. So it's not like you're teaching them anything new. The only thing I would tell them is go to Wells Fargo, because they have a 2% cash back versus most of the banks have 1%. And Wells Fargo, by the way, funny story, I didn't know this. When I came down to Florida, I was talking to my Wells Fargo banker. His name's Zach. I'm like, man, how come you guys don't have any locations in Michigan? He goes, well, we're only in banking regulations. You're not allowed to be in all 50 states. And that was one state that we chose not to be in. I was like, you're kidding. It's the auto. Like, what are you talking about? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I just know we're not in Michigan. The closest branch to Michigan is in Illinois, in Chicago. And our bookkeeper and HR person, Amanda and Nancy, had to drive there one day to sign a bunch of documents. So they had to take a day trip to Chicago. But where there's Wells Fargo's, and Wells Fargo, not only are they fantastic, but they're just, it's a pain in the ass to open up a bank account or get a credit card with them, because you got to go through every little stuff. I never had to do that before. But all their stuff is so tight, it's worth it. I don't know if that makes any sense. You're happy that you went through it. But man, it's stupid. Like, I'm thinking right now for my call centers, do I need a credit card for that? And I'm thinking, yeah, I do. But man, do I want to go through all that crap again? And, blood samples and all the stuff that they do, it's a little bit of a pain, but it's okay. I mean, it's worth it in the end, but we don't need it right now. So I'm kind of being lazy.
But the idea behind the credit influencer then is that you want to be able to help people who are like, I don't know anything about credit, because there's a huge audience of people, especially as someone who's like partway through the education process, who are like, I don't have any idea how to even start credit. I don't have any. I've never had credit. There's just a much larger audience of people who are in that bracket, as well as the people who are sadly in subprime or really bad credit situations where they need the help and understanding, where they're like, hey, I maxed out a credit card while I was in college. Like, that was me. I maxed out a credit card in college. I came out of it with student loan debt and a credit card debt, and I was like, okay, my credit score is trash. What can I do? And in that baseline level of knowledge, I feel like is exactly where the credit influencer is kind of aiming. But on the other hand, the diabetic influencer, what are you looking at there? That's really specific, I feel.
Well, let me cover the credit influencer, what you just said, just to answer what you said in a way. There was two reasons that we originally started it. Because we own the brand Microspire, which is a social influencer training platform and kind of like a social influencer social network, I wanted to show people how to start from scratch and create something. And I was like, well, what am I good at? Well, I was good at credit repair. I was good at talking about credit. So I didn't have to train. I already knew all the information. The second reason is that 178 million people still have bad credit. And so there's a lot of misinformation out there, like the 7-year rule about credit, and do inquiries hurt you, and this and that. And well, Dad, I heard that if you pay off a credit card, close it. There's so much misinformation, which is comical because you think someone could just do a search. However, when they do a search, you get 15 answers and they're all contradictory. And that's the problem. So I wanted to give people good information. It has kind of morphed into a third reason, though, and that it's people find it entertaining. So it's kind of like, okay, well, people laugh, giggle, and it's kind of a fun. odd stroke to the ego, if I'm being kind of honest with you, when someone says, hey, I actually got recognized at a trade show. You know, we just launched the Credit Influencer in November. December 9th, I was at a trade show in Florida, and some dude comes up to me and goes, Joe, the Credit Influencer. And that is an industry like veteran and an industry well-known guy who I had never met in person. His name is Osvaldo. He owns RevBoost. He owns an affiliate network, an incentivized affiliate network. And he was like, I have been looking to connect with this guy for 2 years. He disappeared from Teams when Skype went away. He was hard to get a hold of. He was just really hard to get a hold of. And so when he showed up at the party and at the after party, and he came up, and I never saw him before. I didn't even know what he looked like. So he goes, hey, Joe Osvaldo. I'm like, RevBoost Osvaldo? I know it probably came out of my tongue a little messed up, but I was like, RevBoost Osvaldo? He's like, yeah. I'm like, give me your goddamn phone number right now. I'm not letting you get away. So he gave me his number. We've reconnected since then. We're running his offers, but all because he saw me standing there, and I had posted on Facebook and on LinkedIn, hey, I'm going to launch this Credit Influencer. If you have any credit-related products, come find me. And he has a bunch of credit-related products. He's got Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, has incentivized offers. He wants us to run them because, of course, those are great products for people. And that's the other thing. That's what an accidental morphing has turned into. What products can people use that we can recommend that they know is accurate and not crap? Because you see all these commercials about Self and Kickoff and Chime and who's good, who's bad. Now there's a new one called Dave. There's one called Bridget. There's one called, Earnin, one called Current.
Yeah.
There's
And
a
it's
bunch. And they're wonderful. All of them are good for specific purposes. You just got to know where you stand. You got a 450 credit score. You're probably not getting approved for some of them. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's the idea of like, hey, there's a lot that could go into credit, and there's a lot of ways to fix it. Are you going to use Credit Karma? Are you going to do reviews on any of these credit systems? Have
Absolutely.
you used any yourself?
Okay. I don't know how much time you want to get into this, but
I was going to say we're moving on to diabetic influencer in a minute.
Yeah.
So give me 60 seconds. Your
Okay.
credit repair tip if someone had 60 seconds for credit repair.
In 1999, I had bad credit. I fixed my credit to have good credit. In 2008, I fell apart again. I used my knowledge to fix my credit again. I have used many different products to help. Your credit won't get better on its own. You need credit products to have payment history and debt load and all that stuff to get it. I'm just going to help you with the right ones. Like if you have $1,000 and you can go get a secured credit card. Now, a lot of people have $1,000 hanging around right now. They got to start with $100. And then now, as you slowly start to prove that you can make payments on time, you'll get larger. My Capital One was a $500 secured credit card. And I got $7,500 unsecured from Capital One because I proved it over 10 years or whatever it was. So long story short, I will review every single one of them. I will absolutely tell you which ones are good based on your situation. You got a 720 score, I'll tell you the best products. You got a 620 score, best products. 520 score, best products. I'll even show you where to go get your score for free, and that company will help recommend products. So we got lots of information with the Credit Influencer.
Yeah. And when you get into those credit products, it is worth noting, one of the things I've run into in repairing my own credit, you got to be careful. Some of them can be scammy. I recommended Credit Karma. Jordan, have you ever gotten into Credit Karma? I know we talked about it.
Cody has been telling me to go do Credit Karma for months now. I still haven't done it.
And it's worth noting, like Credit Karma themselves, they will ping. It's not a hard ping, but they will ping your credit report a whole bunch. So like I've had Credit Karma for a year or two now. And when I pull my actual credit reports from the bureaus, Credit Karma is like 100 pings on there, which is kind of crazy, but doesn't actually ding you. Moving on from that, you mentioned diabetic influencer. This is a new brand that you brought up a little bit because of something going on with you personally, right?
Yes, absolutely. You want me to start and just take over from here? Or you want to ask?
Yeah, I was like, I want to hear like a rundown. So we're going to do a little bit of a rundown of all of these courses here for everyone listening, for everyone here, context wise. We want to go live a couple more times a week. Last year, Jordan and I were like, we're going to go live every single Monday, every single Tuesday at noon. And we've been doing it. We've been growing that audience, and it's been really cool. So Joe wants to come on. He wants to add more classes. One of those classes, Mondays at 2, we're going to talk about Credit Influencer. Another one of those lives is Tuesdays at 2, where we're going to talk about the diabetic influencer. And yeah, let's hear a little bit more.
Okay. So, the amount, like I told you, the amount of misinformation about credit, and that's why we started the Credit Influencer. So the amount of exponentially worse misinformation is when you have sugar problems. So I don't really know how to get into it, so I'm just going to start talking. I'm trying to think of how to summarize this in a short way, and there's just no way, so I'm going to have to puke a bunch of
This is your show, Joe. Take it over.
Well, I only had 15 minutes. My 15 minutes is up, so I'm going to have to keep talking. But what happened was my daughter is a nurse. Her name's Lauren. I have twin daughters, Lauren and Emily. Emily works for us. Lauren's a nurse. And she kept telling me, Dad, you got diabetes. And I kept saying, no, I don't. She thought I was in denial. But my interpretation of what a diabetic is someone who takes insulin. That was my understanding my whole life. My grandma took insulin. My mom was like, oh, I'm not taking insulin. I thought that was the determining factor of if you had diabetes or not. So I'm like, I'm not taking insulin, so I don't have diabetes. I didn't realize it just has to do with your blood sugar count. If your A1Cs or whatever is over 6.5, you have diabetes. And it's type 2. There's type 1, which you're born with and you can't get rid of. There's type 2, which you can get rid of if you properly diet, eat correctly, and take care of yourself. And so I was like, okay, I don't have diabetes. When I finally came to the realization, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, daughter, she's 30 and she's like, hey, Dad, you have diabetes. Why are you doing this? And when she realized that, I was like, oh, I don't take insulin. She's like, no. Maybe you don't understand. Maybe you should ask your doctor. So I went to my doctor. I'm like, am I a diabetic? He goes, yes. And I was like, oh, well, all you said before is I had high blood sugar. He goes, well, you do. I go, okay, I don't get this. So people don't understand this stuff. I'm in a bunch of diabetic groups right now, and I started the Diabetic Influencer. Because if you think there's a lot of bad information about things out there like credit, it is exponentially worse because everybody has an opinion on health. Oh, here's how you should eat. Here's what you shouldn't do. You should eat breakfast. You should fast. You should, drink water, cabbage diets. You know what I mean? Like there's just, keto and Atkins and South Beach diet was really popular when I was in the 90s. So anyway, Guess what? All those rules are out the window for a diabetic. You can't do those things. There's certain things you fast, your body might go hyperproduction into blood sugar because it thinks it's starving. So there's a bunch of rules for diabetics that aren't normal. My mom has her blood sugar under control. She's a diabetic, type 2. Her blood sugar, when she pricks her finger daily, is under 100. Mine on Jardians is about 153. That's still high. I am still unhealthy. But I'm getting better. It was 413 about 2 months ago. And my wife, when I pricked my finger and she saw it, she almost started to cry. She's like, man, you're melting. Your insides are melting and you're not doing anything about it. And so I was like, you're right, honey. I got to change. I went, got Jardians. I went and started to eat different. I can feel different. I've lost 18 pounds. And once I get down to 200, I will probably not be a type 2 diabetic anymore. At least that's the goal, because not only it takes a long time for you to eat wrong to get type 2 diabetes. So it is not a quick fix. It is a long-term lifestyle change that people just don't think about. Okay, I'm gonna quit eating sugar, so tomorrow I should be healthy. No, dipshit. You're not gonna be healthy tomorrow. It's gonna take you 6 months to a year, and it's the consistency. Think about, real quick, let me finish this one point. Think about like if you go out to water flowers. You can't water them once. You got to water them every day. You have to do these things every day. And I found out the most important thing that I'm starting tonight is to work out with weights. There's a whole thing about working out. People say, well, if you exercise and you go for walks, well, guess what? Walks aren't good. Walks are good for diabetics. They're good, but they're not the only thing you can do. All of us have sugar that is stored in our muscles. And when you're a diabetic, you got all kinds of crap stored in there. And you need to work out with weights like CrossFit or some type of cardio with weights that will get the sugar out of your muscles. Yeah. And once you do all that stuff, you can and will be. So this is the Diabetic Influence. It was created because, number one, we're going to go through my personal journey. I'm going to tell you when I ate like shit, I ate like shit on Saturday. I had some wine. I had a bad day on Sunday because on Saturday night we had a party for our neighbors. We had 50 people over. I was drinking some Lambrusco, which is sugar shit, red wine. You can imagine. I mean, I felt horrible Sunday. I literally felt horrible yesterday, but was it worth it? I mean, yeah, because it was enjoyable, and I don't do it all the time. Like I can't drink Lambrusco every day. I'll die. I literally I would die of sugar. I tip over sugar. So
Well,
anyways, Cody, sorry to interrupt you.
with those sugars. And honestly, the habit building is the important part, and we've touched on habits on the pod a lot. You want to build good habits. When you treat yourself or do something special, it's a little bit different. When it becomes a habit, there's a problem. So for example, when you treat yourself, when I treat myself with new magic cards and I'm like, this is a treat, one off, hell yeah. When I start treating myself every single Friday new magic cards, that becomes a habit, and now all of a sudden it's not a good situation to be in. So yeah,
What'd you call them?
magic cards, trading cards, man.
Cards?
Trading cards. He's not talking about food or anything. He's talking
Not
about.
talking. I was just doing a
He's
parallel.
talking about what he treats himself with, which is going out and buying, like, basically Pokemon cards.
Yeah,
Why is that bad? That's not. Is that just?
well,
an
it's
They're
spending the
expensive.
money. It's gambling. So it's like if I spend that money, it's money I don't have on something else. Similarly, like it's more so talking about the idea of habit building. So if you have your sweet wine on a Saturday for a party, oh darn, yeah, one-off thing, no one cares. Now, if you have a party every single Saturday and 50 people are over every single Saturday, and now you're having wine every single Saturday, that's a bad habit. And those are the things that you end up in trouble for.
Okay, I get it. Sorry, I was trying to figure the correlation of cards to drinking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I also
It's
feel like I need to jump over to the comments really quick.
Yeah.
Sarah feels the need to stress the difference between magic cards and Pokemon cards.
Snaps.
We were just explaining it in Joe turn.
Just getting it through to Joe, which I want to make sure that we don't keep you too long, Joe, because we did talk about only having you on for a little bit. You mentioned Credit Influencer on at 2 p.m. on Monday. So you're going to be live today on the Joey Matterhorn channel or the Credit Influencer channel. I think we have that set up and ready to go. Tomorrow's Diabetic Influencer at 2. What are you doing on Wednesdays and Thursdays?
Wednesday's personal development.
Yes.
Talking about the 4 inner voices, always grow personally, the 60-20 relationship rule, things about, I believe there's 5 areas of your life. There's emotional, there's physical, there is mental, and then there's relational or relationships. I don't like that word relational. It sounds stupid, but I guess that's really a word, believe it or not, because I looked it up. And then financial. So you have 5 areas of your life: financial, relational, emotional, mental, and physical. The 5 alls. AL. It's a stupid name. I gotta think of a better name. I'm in marketing. For God's sakes, better.
It's not as bad as you're making it sound.
Yeah. Well, if you heard, hey, Joe's going to talk about the 5 alls, you'd be like, what is that? It's stupid. That's too generic. I have to think of a better name. But either way, in personal development, you're talking about the 4 of the 5 areas. There's a lot of misnomers on personal development that you're trying to become a better person, which you are, but the reasons are different. Like, in other words, this is my personal opinion. Sorry to say this, but like the more and more generations that we get further and further along to, the more, unfortunately, the younger generations are going to continually be kind of messed up. There's less dual parents in the home. There's all this cyberbullying shit that you grew up with. I never grew up with it. I was 24 years old when the internet came out. I never heard of cyberbullying until I saw what my kids were going through. And I was like, Brandon, just go punch him in the face. And he was like, I don't know where this kid's at. He's in the middle of fucking nowhere. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? You can't see him? And he's like, no, dude, he's a keyboard warrior. Like, all these terms came out, though they didn't exist. Like, this is the first generation, I fully believe, as parents, that we did not relate to our kids what they went through, because I didn't go through that stuff. If you wanted to get together on a Friday night, you had to make plans way in advance. There was no text message group chats. There was no Facebook groups. It was, hey, meet at Tom. Tom's having a party Saturday night. Here's his address. Go. Guess what? Tom wasn't having a party. 700 people showed up anyway. Go ahead.
I truly believe Cody and I were born at such a sweet spot of like the internet just kind of coming into like it's like a thing, and like we kind of get that like our parents' life and the new generation's life kind of blended into one. And I think it really created like a very unique generation that Cody and I find ourselves in.
Yeah, I've lucked out. I had to wait around you, Joe. You've described waiting around your phone for plans and stuff like that as a kid. I had to do that until I got my first cell phone when I was 16. I didn't have we had a home phone until I was 16. So I remember 14, 15 sitting there. When are you going to come by to pick me up so that I can go? At that time, it was church events though. So maybe a little less fun, but.
So a little funny story on that. So even when I got my first cell phone, it was 1992. I was 22 years old delivering pizza. So I was on the phone all the time. Got my first bill, $300 cell phone bill in 1992. feels like about $3,000 right now. You know what I mean? Like the way. So I was like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. And BlackBerry and texting didn't come around until like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So like I was 30 when you would have your group text and stuff like that. But by the way, I was already a dad with kids. Who am I going to group text? All I'm getting at is when you're a kid hanging around, trying to hang around the phone. It was when I was a kid. I don't want to get into all this stuff. That's fun, but when I was a kid, when I got my own phone number, I still remember the number 313-531-1236. And I remember that number because it was in my room.
Don't call that number.
Mine. Please. I didn't have to. Yeah, I'm sure. I have no idea who owns it now, but I remember getting my first answering machine. I could check messages from afar and I was like, this is heaven. Like, and now when you even talk about that stuff, it's almost embarrassing. In 1990, I had this guy named Howie Brumfield, good friend of mine from high school. He goes, Joe, he goes, have you ever been to the Amway Hotel in Grand Rapids? Because we were from Detroit. And I was like, no, why? He goes, this hotel is so advanced. He goes, it can tell when you're done going to the bathroom and when you step away, it automatically flushes the toilet. And we were like, shut the fuck up. No fucking way. Now, if you go into a place that doesn't have automatic flushing, you're like, what kind of a cheap fucking place am I at? Like, who doesn't have a toilet sensor? Like, that's so common. But back then, it was like, oh my God, the Amway Hotel. I got to go just to pee, just to check the thing so it would walk away from you. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, technology's obviously changed. All that stuff is different. But anyway, the personal development stuff, getting back to that, the whole point of this is that there are so many things, like perfect example, my wife, Jennifer, every day she wakes up and she says, I'm so happy we moved to Florida. And she's usually looking outside and I'm like, honey, is it because the weather's perfect? Almost all the time. She's like, well, that's part of it. But I didn't even know the amount of psychological angst that I held on to for living in Michigan. I have nothing but bad memories. I didn't get along with my family. So I'm in the town that my family's in. I'm wondering if they're talking about me. I'd go to the grocery store. I'd run into people that I knew. I'm wondering if they knew my dad who did this and this and this. And I'm wondering this. And I have an ex-husband and I was always afraid to run into people. I don't have any of that down here. I'm free of all that. So she didn't even know why she liked it down here so much. But every day for a whole year until her therapist actually said, well, here's why you like it down here. She didn't know. So that's the stuff about people do things, have patterns, have problems in their life, can't do change, can't take action and stuff like that. They don't know why. And self-awareness is really a struggle because if you're really on, no one wants to think badly of themselves. Well, maybe that relationship was my fault. You know, no one says, I mean, who says that besides a healthy person in their head who actually has had some awakeness? I don't want to say the word woke. I don't mean it like that, but they have awakened to the fact that, oh my God, like in the movie, The Matrix, I usually dictate the movie, The Matrix. Neo was always the one, but it took him 3 days and going through a whole bunch of stuff before he realized he was the one and became Neo. Well, that's the same thing with personal development. You're going to have breakthroughs. You're going to hear enough information and go, oh my God, I did that. Oh my God, I didn't realize people thought like that. I had a little minor funny story and I'll stop talking about this. But today there was a TikTok I was watching. I was having breakfast. I was watching a TikTok and lady was talking about what women think, what men think. So the guy came into the room and she was cutting tomatoes and he goes, oh, tomatoes. That's all he said. And then he left and she starts going, what is he thinking about tomatoes? Does he like tomatoes? Does he not like the way I'm slicing them? What's he doing? What's he talking about? And she gets herself into this frenzy. And then they showed the dude, he goes, oh, tomatoes. Then he's walking around the room listening to Pokemon music in his head, looking around and daydreaming. And because that's how men process information. He doesn't even think about it. So while the woman is obsessing, the men's thinking about it. And there's so many differences of men and women that you have to understand that and be able to poke light at it or at least talk about it and take it serious. Because if you don't, what's going to end up happening is that men and women are very different. There was a book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus that came out in the 90s, and it was phenomenal, and it still exists. Like, if a person from Venus landed here, how would you treat them? You won't know. They're an alien. Well, that's how different men and women are. We are alien thought process to each other, and hopefully this personal development stuff will help bridge the gap with all that stuff.
Yeah. Personally, I think the personal development stuff, we touch on it a lot in our like day-to-day pods. And one of the things I want to highlight this comment because it has to do with kind of personal development that Mel made. How do you stay motivated when results aren't immediate? So like when you're talking about credit influencer and you start making credit changes, a lot of the comments I see are, oh, I have been working on my credit for 3 months and I've only gone up 5 points. Or people who are dealing with health issues and things like that, where they're like, hey, I started a new diet and it's been 2 weeks and I've gained 2 pounds. What's going on? When people are in those situations, how do you handle that?
That is a wonderful question and a wonderful example. Let me tell you how. So, the first thing is that if you do the wrong things for 3 months, your credit score can go down 5 points. So again, one of the things that's important is where do you go for the right information? I promise you, if you do the things I teach you at 3 months, your score should go up significantly more than 5 points. Should, and I say should because I don't know your credit history. I don't know how bad it is. If your credit score is a 600, I can show you things in 3 months that could take it to 650, 700. If your credit score is 450, well, you guess what? We got a lot of crap to clean up. That's going to take some time. So progress is, if you remember that movie, The Equalizer from 2014, and the guy was showing the guy's like, hey, don't eat chips. And the guy's like, man, he goes, sorry, I wanted flavor for God's sakes. And what Denzel Washington's character said is something I think about all the time. It's progress, not perfection. You're never going to be perfect, but if you're working towards something, first of all, you got to know where you want to go. If your credit score is 700 or your weight is based on your body weight and mass is 200 pounds, you got to know where you're headed. Because if you don't know where you're headed, you're not going to know how to get there. If you're just trying to straighten your credit, it might be 5 points in 10 years, for God's sakes. I've seen all kinds of stuff. So you got to do the right things, the right habits, the right patterns. One of the reasons, and Tony Robbins said this, and I'm going to completely brag for a second, and I don't mean to, but it just happens to be my opinion of this, is that one of the reasons that we have been successful is I am very, very good at pattern recognition. And I didn't realize that was a skill. And Tony Robbins one day said the difference between successful, like massively successful people and average successful people is pattern recognition. And what I mean by that is that if every single person that does this gets here and it makes you spend $2 and you make $1.50, for example. Well, if you change something, well, why is it $1.50? It should be $3. Okay, let's recognize the pattern. They filled something out on your website. Maybe the first wording's wrong. We actually found out that changing one word one time on a website can completely change how people converted on the thank you pages. And just so everyone knows what a thank you page is, you have a website, someone lands on it, they fill out name, email, and phone number, then they hit the submit button. Where they land is called a thank you page or a success page. A lot of different terms for it. The thank you page is usually like, we've all done this. Thank you for submitting your information. Somebody will get back to you. That's kind of a thank you page. But our thank you pages say, great, filling out name, email, and phone number was the first step. Now let's take you here, there, everywhere. And that is that requires pattern recognition. Well, pattern recognition is for everything in life. Food. Are you eating incorrectly? Do you eat late at night? Are you noticing this about your spouse? Are you noticing that when you say these words, they're getting mad? But I have a horrible example, but it's a perfect example. It just happened yesterday. My wife, is a wonderful woman, and she used to be accused by her exes of lying, like a lot of exes always do, right? Oh, you lied to me, you lied to me, you lied to me. Well, she doesn't lie. But we have a neighbor down the street, and I was like, did you pass out for the party at the neighbor's house? And she goes, yeah. Well, this neighbor is a single woman, and I actually was just jokingly saying to her, I didn't think you did it until the neighbor actually showed up to our party, and that proved that she did it. Mm-hmm. And that was on Saturday. On Sunday morning, she said, Joe, please don't ever say that to me again. That really hurts my feelings. I thought it was a light moment and we could laugh about it, but she was dredging up all the time she was called a liar in the past, and she associated me saying, hey, honey, you didn't really pass that out at Kara's house, did you? She was hurt. She was mad. She almost started to cry. And I was like, oh, okay, pattern recognition. Don't do that again. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, like, you have to recognize those things because, you're going to get in arguments with your significant other. You're going to hurt them. They're going to hurt you. It's not purposeful, but if you recognize the pattern, you stop and you don't do those things again.
Well, it's also recognizing people experience trauma and hurt from others outside of themselves, and they can, when they experience that similar hurt, lash out at you when it's not your fault. Exactly. I 100% have ended in the situation where I've said something and been like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I meant that as a joke. And it's like, well, It didn't come across as a joke. It's not funny. It's not that for me.
Yeah.
It's
She was
like
probably
recognizing,
sensitive
hey,
to it.
I don't think I did anything wrong, quote unquote, but it doesn't matter. Right and wrong doesn't matter. You hurt the person that you care about. Don't do that. Be better. It's not a right or wrong. And I think a lot of people get hung up on right and wrong. Like, oh, it's not wrong for me to do this. I'm woke. I'm healed. I can do all whatever. I'm just doing what I. No, dude, you hurt someone. Have empathy. And Joe, I will say, out of everything, you've got big empathy. So.
Well, you know what's funny, Cody? As you're talking about it, I'm realizing we need to have a new brand, the relationship influencer. And you might be a big part of that, buddy. You got some good nuggets.
We just need to do BetterHelp therapy. Like half of what Jordan and I do, we talk about therapy and habit stacking and building good lifestyle choices so that you can be better in the future. And I think that's more than anything else. If you're going to be a side hustler, if the healthier you are mentally, the more likely you are going to be able to make money, because you're not going to be worried about, oh, is so-and-so cheating on me? I'm juggling all of these side people and I'm trying to rip this person off and I'm juggling these 5 lies. No, dude, live life, be a good person. And then when you want to go buy a cell phone for $500 and sell it for $700, be upfront and buy a cell phone for $500 and sell it for $700 and make some money.
Well, it's funny too. Like I said, I need a long. I'm already over my time. So
we're over time. We're getting
the name of the show is Joey Matterhorn.
I know.
I need to stress that.
It's funny too, because Jordan, funny story. I thought the same thing, and then Cody's like, "Well, we got a month's worth of stuff planned out. You're just going to jump on now, and it's going to mess up our stuff." And I was like, "Totally, I get it. I didn't realize it was that important because my goal here."
Some of them are weird though. So like next week, Jordan and I are planning on talking about Dungeons and Dragons. So if you want to hop on, you want to ask us about Dungeons and Dragons, I'd love to have you on that. But that's more of like a, hey, we're
having pattern recognition is going to be like, what are you talking about? I have no idea. I played Dungeons and Dragons when I was 8. That was 1978.
Having one person here who doesn't know about it is going to make it better for us to have someone to ask the questions, because we sit here and talk about it. I mean, we're not experts, but like, you know, we'll come across more from the expert side of things because we know about it. Having
so a little funny segue into that, just very quickly. Let me segue. So my cousin was a big Dungeons and Dragons player. I was 8 years old. He was 12. He had a bunch of his 12-year-old friends over in Rochester, Michigan, where he lived. And I was there playing. And the guy was like, hey, if you do this, you get 12 gold pieces. Or, hey, and I was like, are you just making this shit up as you go?
Yeah.
Well,
and he was like, well, yeah, I'm the dungeon master or whatever that's called. And I was like, what crock of shit is this? There's no rules. So if you're mad at me, you can just give me 1 gold piece versus 12. Like if I say something, I'm not supposed to.
That's the thing about it. Then you get to be creative and be like, okay, well, guess what? Now I'm going to try and steal the gold from you. You know, like
as an 8-year-old, you don't know what you're doing.
As an 8-year-old, that's really hard. I can see Joe, I could see you being the type of person who's like, oh, you're just the god of this world. The fuck, I want to do that. Like, let me be that person.
Yeah, Joe, you'd make a great dungeon master. You should. That's the role you would want to be in, where you build the world for everybody, and then you get to make it up as you go, and then everyone else just plays in it.
If somebody just would explain this shit when I was 8 years old, I could be a 55-year-old dungeon master right now doing all this shit.
Exactly.
You know, there's an old rule. You guys know this rule. I've told this rule before, but for every $1 that somebody spends on adult education, they spend $100 on entertainment. So finding things that people like to do, concerts, seminars, bars, parties, things like that, is way easier to get people to do. So I'm sure Dungeons and Dragons is hugely popular, even though I have no idea about it. You're the last 2 people in the last 40 years I've even heard the name, didn't even know it was around. Anymore.
COVID sparked it. It became very popular over COVID again.
It's worth noting there are people in very similar positions as yours, Joe, where they're, you know, in their 50s and even 60s, and they're like, yeah, I started playing D&D way back when it released, and it's a Dungeons and Dragons, it's a game, and now that it's blown up, they've turned it into full-time careers, and they're millionaires because they played Dungeons and Dragons for years, and they're like, yeah, I made that really smart decision to get on the ground floor of Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s when people in California thought we were playing in sewers and worshiping the devil. Like, let's be real here.
I watched somebody on YouTube who is like a professional dungeon master. They've done shows where they have sold out Madison Square Garden playing Dungeons and Dragons in front of people. And
I believe it.
Yeah,
Go to Comic-Con. Can't go to
like,
Comic-Con without these Star Wars freaks wearing shit around the corner.
and he talks about it like he's like, I used to get bullied in high school for playing this. He's like, you know, and then it's like now I sell out stadiums.
He's still going to get bullied, though. For those of us that don't understand it, people are still going to make fun of him. Who cares? He's probably rich.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
You can poke as much fun as you want at me at this point because it is.
But I got the results to be like, look at how
There
it's
you go.
doing.
Exactly.
So funny story. Last start Bitcoin when Bitcoin first came out, and when I first met Sean, our server guy, Sean, Elite Force, he was at a trade show with us. He was at Affiliate Rewards in 2013. He's like, man, there's this new way to pay people called Bitcoin. And we're all like, what the fuck are you talking about? Now, these are affiliates. The top 12 affiliates in the world won this contest. He was one of them. I was one of them. That's where I met him at Max Bounty's affiliate rewards retreat. They flew us to Vegas, put us up. As freaking awesome. And the other 11 looked at him like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, these are people in the online space going, Bitcoin? That's fake arbitrage fiat money with no value, blah, 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 which, no offense, I still have that strong opinion, but a lot of people don't.
Recent revelations have proven you right.
The drop lately or something like that?
Yeah, there's some things. I won't go into the politics behind it, but
I was gonna say I don't know enough about the politics on it, but I have known that it's dropped a lot.
I'll say this, with the release of a bunch of files, Bitcoin has dropped pretty hard.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
We'll call those the E files, so we won't say the word, right? All right. Well, it's funny you should say that. So I didn't realize that's why it dropped at all.
I didn't either. That's actually crazy.
This is secondhand information that I've gotten as well. So this is third hand to you guys. I probably wouldn't go around saying that like for a fact.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're saying it on a podcast right now, brother.
But
this is going on
Jordan,
YouTube.
you seem pretty adamant.
You said
hey, man,
I just was honest right there, right now.
All right, yeah, you caught yourself. Disclaimer. All right,
that's funny.
All right, so real quick, by the way, I don't know, like I'm sure we're going to chop this up into different videos, but I know we got to go shortly. I know we're going to test Jeff at 1:30 for the 3 o'clock flippers, and we're going to. Can I just use this link for my 2 o'clock credit influencer?
No, sir. We will need to create a completely separate one for that. But if we're all set, we will get you set up, Joe. We'll hop onto a call with you after this to kind of decompress. But thanks for joining us. I will give us an outro here. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're going to be live at 2 o'clock today on the Credit Influencer YouTube channel. We'll drop a link to that in the Joey Matterhorn socials after we post this live. Thanks so much for joining us. Remember, lunch with the boys. It's Jordan, Joey Matterhorn himself. My name's Cody. We're going to be live tomorrow at noon on the Good Rep Media channel with James, who's going to be joining us to talk about some developer tools and toolbox that you can use on your WordPress websites. And that should be a really good episode. Looking forward to that. But Joe, thanks so much for joining us, man. I appreciate it.
Me too.
We'll hop in. Peace out, guys.
Thanks for keeping Joey Matterhorn on